could it be? But me, your man, Louis T. Welcome to this championship weekend overtime breakdown of the AFC championship game. Tennessee Titans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs and their fan base for what has been a spectacular season. And now it's going to wind up in Miami in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 54 will feature the Kansas City Chiefs. We know one of the participants in the game. And this is not a surprise. And I actually feel like my analysis, my preview of the game was spot on. I said that the Chiefs were going to score up over 30 in this game, and the Titans were going to have to score 30 plus to win, and I just didn't see them being able to do that. I said that the Titans were going to hang in here first half, and they did, and they controlled much of the first half, but at the end of the first half, when you played as well as the Titans had, scoring on their first 3 possessions of the game, and controlling the clock and doing all of the things that they needed to do to win, and you look up and you're trailing by 4 at halftime with the Chiefs set to get the football to start the second half, it was a bad omen. It was a sign of things to come. And I had said during my preview for this game that they were going to hang tough first half, and even into the third quarter they were going to hang tough, and that the Chiefs would pull away as the game progressed. And that's exactly what happened. And I figured that the thing that was going to hurt the Titans in this game is that this wasn't going to be like the wild card weekend game versus the New England Patriots, where you could ball control and take the air out of the football and shorten the game and win in a low scoring affair. Same thing against Baltimore. I thought if they were going to beat Baltimore, and I was actually wrong about this, they scored 28 in that ball game, but I thought that if they were gonna win, they were gonna win that game 23-17, 20-17, something along those lines. And they ended up scoring 28 and reducing the Ravens to just 12 points. But that was another game where they were able to run it, shorten the game. The Ravens panicked. I talked about this on the podcast. They panicked. They got out of what they do best. And I thought the Titans were going to be the team that did that. And because they were able to get out to the 14-0 lead, not the Ravens, they were able to control the game and they ran away and hid. But that wasn't going to happen in this game because the Chiefs could score in the blink of an eye. And that's the problem that I knew the Titans were going to run into, is that for all of the ball control, for all of the time of possession that they had in this game, you knew that the Chiefs at any moment could strike. And they had 2 possessions in the first half where they scored in less than 3 minutes. That's the thing that was going to break the Titans back in this game, is that they could try to control the clock. They could try to slow the pace down or speed the game up. And in the minute that they gave it back to Kansas City, it's a free-for-all because they can score at any moment. And they did in this game, and that's really what the difference was. And you know what? I want to also give credit to Andy Reid and his staff for kind of being a chameleon in this football game, because I thought their adaptation in the third quarter into the fourth of running the football. Now, that was the one thing I was wrong about. I said, look, they don't want to run. They're not interested in running the football. So you don't really have to worry about that. Well, they didn't really run it in the first half outside of Patrick Mahomes. But in the second half, it was a totally different team. They ran the football. Even though it wasn't for a bunch of yards, it really did eat up the clock. They literally gave the Titans a dose of their own medicine. And unlike the Titans, they were able to cap off some of these drives with touchdowns. And so they bled much of the third quarter clock, started off the fourth quarter with a touchdown, and that really put the Titans in a really tough spot. Now down 2 scores, down 11 with 13, 14 minutes, 12 minutes left in this ball game. Tough spot to be in for a team that wants to run the football. Derrick Henry didn't hit 20 carries. That's not the winning recipe for them. And so everything that I thought was going to happen did happen in this game. And it couldn't have happened to a better fan base. I love Chiefs fans. They're some of the most gracious and really well-versed fans in all of the NFL. Some of the best fans I've come in contact with. I love Chiefs fans, and they have been deserving of this for so long, and they've had so many heartbreaks. And I don't want to get into too much of it because there are a lot of teams around the league that have had heartbreak, all right, that haven't had their chance to be in the sun. But this team and this franchise and this fan base has waited long enough, and they've had opportunities, and they've just come up short. And now they're finally going to the Super Bowl, and they've got a great chance of winning. And this is the thing. They have a chance to put together a dynasty. Now, got to win one first before you start using the D word. However, they've got a chance to really, the torch has been passed. I really wanted them. Remember I told you how I kind of felt sad that they weren't the ones to put New England out? Like last year, they were supposed to beat the Patriots. And it was supposed to be a symbolic passing of the torch. Well, this year would have been great if they could have beat them because the Patriots felt like they were on their last legs. And I wanted it to be like the Bulls beating the Pistons in the NBA when Jordan finally got over that hump and you knew they're about to run the Eastern Conference for the next decade, and they did, and won multiple championships in the process. I wanted it to be like that. I wanted them to take the Patriots out and have that symbolic passing of the torch. I didn't get it, but it doesn't matter. This team's here to stay. And as long as Mahomes is healthy, this is a group that could be here for many, many years to come. Now, again, got to win the chip. Dan Marino thought he was going to be in the Super Bowl. In his second year in the league, when he made it to the Super Bowl, Dan Marino thought he was going to be there many, many times. And so did most people covering the NFL back then. He never made it back to the Super Bowl. So I don't want to jump the gun, but this is a really good Kansas City Chiefs football team. And the big difference for the Chiefs this year versus last year and years in the past, this was a team that got better defensively. You really found out what your defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, was worth in gold as the season progressed. Early in the season, a lot of people were saying, this isn't any different than Bob Sutton. We're getting killed defensively. We stink. We can't get stops. We're horrible on third downs. We're not creating turnovers. It looked like the same. And I kept telling people, it's not the same. It may feel the same. You may be giving up points. I'm telling you, it looks different. It feels different. And as the season progressed, it was different. And you saw it in this game. When they had to have big stops, they got them in this game. When they needed to get the ball back to their offense. You know what a critical stop was in this game? So we talked, and I talked about it at halftime, and I tweeted out about this. This is a massive possession to start the second half. If the Titans can get a stop, they're still in this ball game. If they give up a touchdown, this game's over. Well, the Titans got the stop that they needed. They got the stop. You know what was the even bigger stop? The Titans not being able to get it done on offense and the Chiefs coming out on defense to get a stop. Because if the Titans go down and they get a field goal, it's a different ballgame. If the Titans go down and they are able to score a touchdown, they take the lead. The momentum shifts back to their sideline. It's a different game. But the Chiefs were able to get the stop that they needed to get it back to their offense. And the offense did the rest. They went on an 8.5-minute drive, culminating in a touchdown that bled into the fourth quarter that really put this game on ice at 28-17. So this defense showed up big when they had to. You would have liked to have seen them get a stop at the end and not allow a fake punt to get you for a first down and spark that last touchdown drive by the Titans. But it is what it is. They got the stop at the very end, so this thing didn't become a one-possession game. The defense rose to the occasion as they have throughout the back end of this season. This is a different group, guys. And I think that's why this team is heading to Miami to play in Super Bowl 54. As much as the offense is responsible, the defense also is responsible for this team's success on the back end of this season. Now it's 8 in a row for this Chiefs team. They got hot. Remember, no one was talking Chiefs when they had the injuries, when Mahomes went down and he was in and out of the lineup and they had all these guys out. Frank Clark was dealing with some injuries. Tyreek Hill was banged up to start the season off. No one was talking about this Chiefs football team. When they went on Sunday night and lost at home to Green Bay, nobody was talking Chiefs football. And slowly but surely, they worked their way back into the mix. They got healthy. They got better defensively. And now here they are, hoisting the Lamar Hunt Trophy, ironically enough, named after the founder of the Kansas City Chiefs organization. They're hoisting that trophy, meaning they're heading to the Super Bowl. And this was a really well-played game by the Chiefs. And to the Titans, it's a hell of a run. And as I said on my podcast, it's a hell of a run, but it ends today. The run ends today, and we'll get into the specifics of the game. Do have some super chats, though, and so I do want to get to a couple of those. Knock those out quickly, and we'll get back to the breakdown. John Saluter says, you were right. I was wrong. Good pick, Louie. My man John hit me up on Twitter, was like, yo, I got 50 on the Titans. I'm like, yo, I would take that bet in a heartbeat. And so my man John Saluter was like, he was ready. He was ready to bet it all on the Titans, and they didn't get it done for him. And my man Big Blue Rising says, Andy's back in the game. The big game, that is. And I said he was going to get back there on the podcast when I gave my prediction. I said he's going to get back there, and I think he's got a legitimate shot of winning it. The best possible Super Bowl we could come out with is Chiefs 49ers. It really, you can't go wrong. Once the Chiefs won, like I said on the podcast, you really can't go wrong with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers or the San Francisco 49ers as a whole. Long as you got the Chiefs in there, you're going to be fine with the Super Bowl game. And I think we're going to get a really good Super Bowl game. Now, the question is, are we going to get a really good NFC Championship game? That is still to be determined. But in any event, let's get to the breakdown of this game quickly. I'll see if I can get to some comments before we have to get out of here, before the next game starts at 6:40. So let's start with the Chiefs. I thought they came out a little flat, as they did last week, and you saw it. The Titans jumped them early, jumped out to the 10-0 lead. But unlike last week, they were able to kind of weather the storm a lot sooner. They didn't allow this thing to become an avalanche and have to dig themselves out of a hole. It was a 10-point deficit, but it's not something that's insurmountable. It's not something that makes them overly uncomfortable. And as I mentioned before, the Titans weren't going to score a bunch of points in this game. I didn't think so. At some point, I don't care. And remember, the Titans did everything they wanted to do early. We'll get to that when we get to them. And the Chiefs still managed to score, keep it close, keep it within striking distance, and at the end of the first half, take the lead 21-17. And I think they did a really good job of spreading the football around. And I talked about Samuel Watkins. I always talk about him because he's the best third option you're going to find in this league. Yes, he's getting paid $16 million to be a third option. I've heard that excuse, and I've heard people trying to demean him on social media. Oh, you $16 million for a number 3 wide receiver. And that's cool. He's going to the Super Bowl. And part of the reason the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl is because they invested in this offense. And as I mentioned on the podcast, on the breakdown, they've got speed everywhere. Speed! Hard to cover these guys when it's Tyreek. And you saw it at the very end when the Titans needed to stop. Speed killed them. Mecole Hardman in the slot right next to Tyreek Hill, who had already killed them for 2 touchdown passes in this game. Well, now all of a sudden they go to the other speedster in Mecole Hardman, and he gets one-on-one coverage down the field with Tremaine Brock. And that's a mismatch, and it's pass interference, and that's really game, set, match at that point. So the speed is everywhere. And they did a good job of mixing it up, getting it in everyone's hands. It was Travis Kelce a little bit early on a key 4th down. He was able to get the catch. It was, Mecole Hardman on a little bit of a jet sweep type of play or a shovel pass, whatever you want to call it. It was Tyreek Hill on a shovel pass for a touchdown. Tyreek Hill on a seam ball for a touchdown. They spread the wealth around. You had a catch by Demarcus Robinson where he tries to extend for the first down. Samuel Watkins had a big day, 7 catches, over $1 and some change, and a massive touchdown, and really put this game out of reach for good for the 60-yarder. But everyone got their hands on the football in this game. And so I thought it was a really well-executed game plan by the Chiefs to really not necessarily key in on Travis Kelce trying to make sure he gets it, or Tyreek Hill trying to make sure he gets it, but making sure everyone's involved so it's hard for the Titans to key in on. And then Mahomes, I thought, was the X factor in this game. And I know it's hard to use him as an X factor because it is the MVP of the league from a season ago. So it's hard to call him an X factor, but his legs, to me, were the difference in this game. I thought his legs were huge last week. All right, but even more so this week, the touchdown run right before the half was huge, but just the ability to extend plays. We saw him last week use his legs to throw the football. This week, he used his legs to pick up first downs and on the play right before the half to score a massive touchdown. Poor tackling on that play by the Titans, but still a hell of a run by Mahomes nonetheless. His legs were massive. He led their team in rushing in this game, 6 totes for 56 yards for Patrick Mahomes, not to mention nearly 300 yards passing. He was definitely the MVP of this football game, and Mahomes has been that way for this team since he's gotten into the league and gotten a starting nod a season ago. So thought his legs were huge in this game. And then in the second half, they were able to hand it off. And even though it wasn't for a ton of yards, again, they kept the Titans offense off the field, which you didn't go in the game thinking, got to keep the Titans offense off the field, but they never got into a rhythm. Derrick Henry never got into the game in the second half. A bulk of his carries came in the first half of this game. They did not see the field offensively, did the Titans, for much of the second half, and it was a role reversal of time of possession and plays and yardage gained, and all of that stuff was flipped on its head in the second half of this game. And again, you got to give the Chiefs credit offensively for really being a chameleon and really camouflaging into whatever they felt like they needed to be. And that's what the best teams in the league do. You hear the Patriots and Belichick talk about a new game plan every week. If they got to run it 40 times this week, they do. If they got to throw it 40 times the following week, they do. It's not this one vanilla standard game plan where we want to do what we do best. It's, hey, whatever we got to do this week to win, that's what we're going to do. And that's what the Chiefs did in this game. That was impressive because I hadn't really seen that from the Chiefs in quite some time. I've seen them run it this year before, but I haven't seen them do that during this 7-game winning streak. Maybe outside of the Raiders game because they jumped the Raiders very early in that game. Maybe outside of the snow game versus the Broncos late in the season. They haven't really done this season. They haven't really turned around and handed it off. It's really been the Patrick Mahomes show, and that was impressive. That was really impressive to take the air out of the football, give the Titans a dose of their own medicine. And a lot of times when teams are given a dose of their own medicine, they don't know how to take it. And it's amazing to me and surprising because you would think that you would know what your own kryptonite is and how to flip that over and how to adapt and adjust and counteract the things that make you uncomfortable. And they couldn't do that. The Chiefs gave them a dose of their own medicine, and much like the Ravens got a dose of their own medicine from this same Titans team, they didn't know how to react, and the Titans didn't know how to react to getting a dose of their own medicine in this ball game. And the Chiefs, they got it done defensively, especially in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. And the offense, when they needed to make plays, they made plays in this game. And they advanced to Super Bowl 54 with a 35-24 victory. As, it's been a long time coming for these Chiefs fans, and it's well deserved. You get to the Tennessee Titans, first and foremost, hell of a run by the Titans. I don't know if they'll be able to duplicate this, if they'll ever be back. But you know what this felt like? And I kind of alluded to this on my podcast when I broke it down. And man, I'm going to tell you right now, I hate to toot my own horn. No, I don't. Actually, I like tooting my own horn. But the last podcast episode that I just dropped, man, that was a really good episode. I mean, I had a ton of fun doing it. You guys need to check it out if you haven't checked it out. It's a hell of an episode, I must say. But I kind of alluded to this on the podcast, but I didn't actually come out and say this. But the Tennessee Titans felt like Bucknell in the NCAA tournament in March. Like, it was cool in the first round when they upset North Carolina. It was really cool in the second round to get to the Sweet 16 when they were able to upset, Kansas. All right, now you've taken it too far. If you win this next game and you get to the Super Bowl, it's like Bucknell ending up in the championship game. Nobody really wants to see Bucknell in the championship game unless you think they're going to actually win. If Bucknell's playing a team that's going to make them a massive underdog and they get smoked, are you really going to be excited about that? Not saying that was going to happen to the Titans, but I felt like their magic had run out. It was time for their magic to run out. And so this was an improbable run. To go on the road, beat New England, on the road, beat the Baltimore Ravens who had won 12 straight to wrap up the season, and then go on the road and have a chance and be up 10 in the first 10 minutes of this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs says a lot about this Titans team. This team was battle-tested all year long. They fought like hell. They gave themselves a chance, but it just was too much. It was too daunting of a task to go on the road 3 consecutive weeks in a row against teams that were better than you. You beat, I don't necessarily know if the Patriots were better than you, but the Baltimore Ravens were better than you. You just outclassed them in that game. The Chiefs are better than you. They proved it today. So for you to go on the road and win twice in a row and almost have a chance to win this game says a lot about the coaching job Mike Vrabel did to make the switch from Mariota to Tannehill for the team then to respond to the change. Because I remember talking to my man, Teron Davenport, who covers the team for ESPN Nation, and I had him on the podcast. And I remember him telling me that the team still wasn't all in on Ryan Tannehill when they first made that switch after the Denver Broncos game permanently. Because remember, he came in for Mariota in the fourth quarter of that Denver Broncos game when they got shut out. And I said to Teron, has this team rallied around Tannehill? Do they believe this is the right move? And a lot of guys hadn't bought in yet. And for them to then buy in, make the run that they did, it says a lot about this team. Arthur Smith was being criticized heavily early in the season. Thought he did a really good job. I questioned some of the things he did in this game, but I'm not going to question him too much. I thought the play calling was fine. I would have liked to have seen them go play action fake on first down because the Chiefs were going to sell out The number one goal of the Chiefs in this game was to stop Derrick Henry and the Titans' rushing attack. So you needed to use that against them. I love the play action fake dig route over the middle of the football field. I want to say it was the second play of the game to A.J. Brown. I thought they needed more of that. Corey Davis had another chunk play over the middle of the football field and play action fake. I thought that those opportunities were going to be there in this game because of them selling out to stop the run. There were going to be some opportunities to take some shots, to take those chunk plays. A la the Los Angeles Rams last year, where they were going play action fake, but they weren't necessarily going to go 80 yards or to go 60 yards over the top. They were going for the 15-yard dig route, but that run after the catch nets them 33 yards. They were looking for 20-yard chunk plays, 20-yard increments. I thought the Titans could have done that in this game. And I didn't want to take the ball out of Derrick Henry's hands too much. But I thought at one point, they said on the telecast, 5 first downs for the Titans, 5 first down runs for the Titans. I thought that there were some opportunities on first down to take some shots. And not necessarily Khalif Raymond streaking out the field. How about a throw to Ferkser? You had an opportunity on that throw to Ferkser that Tannehill knows he missed, okay? There were more opportunities for that in this game. You know, some misdirection, tight end sneaks out, runs a wheel up the sideline. You got him. I thought there were more opportunities for that in this game, and I didn't think they took advantage. So I thought the Titans did some good things, especially early on in this game, jumping out to the 10-0 lead. I thought it was ballsy on the part of Mike Vrabel to go for it on fourth down. I agreed with that. Okay, you're on the road. You got nothing to lose. Scare money, don't make money. Roll the dice. Let's see what happens. He did. They got the first down. And how about Adam Humphries coming back and being a massive participant in this game, although it ended up not resulting in a win. He was huge. A couple of big completions on some third and fourth downs in this game. He was massive for them early on. I just thought that they just didn't do enough offensively. I thought the defense actually gave them a shot in this game. I know the 35 point says otherwise, but if you watch this game, the flow of this game, I actually thought that the defense gave them, because look, the Chiefs were going to score 30. If you thought the Chiefs were going to score less than 30, you were out of your damn mind, okay? They were going to score 30 in this game. The offense of the Titans needed to keep pace. That's what this was going to boil down to. If you thought that the Titans were going to win this game, then they needed to win a 33-30 shootout, similar to the first time they won when these two teams met. They weren't going to win a 23-20 game. If you were thinking that that was going to happen, you haven't been watching enough of the Chiefs of late, and you haven't been watching enough of NFL football, frankly, because they weren't going to win this game 23-20 unless the Chiefs turned it over and were uncharacteristically sloppy in this game. They weren't going to win this game 23-20. And they did have some penalties, and they did have some miscues early with the penalties and giving up first downs and things of that nature. But Mahomes rarely turns it over. I don't think he's thrown a postseason interception yet. Okay, they rarely turn it over to the Chiefs offensively. They weren't going to make a ton of mistakes. This isn't Baltimore and Lamar Jackson and a team that isn't accustomed to being in this situation. This team was in the AFC Championship just a season ago at home. So they know what this is like. They know what they have to do, and they were ready to take that next step. The Titans offensively were going to have to do more, and they weren't up for the task. And that's why they don't advance here. Because I get it, 35 points, it's a lot of points. I get it. But I thought the defense gave them enough opportunities. That stop to start the second half, that was the move. That was the time for the Titans offense to step up and say, all right, we're going to go on a drive here. We're going to possess the football. We're going to get back into this game. And even if it only netted you a field goal and you cut the deficit to 1 at 21-20, that was the time for you to make your power move in this game. You score a touchdown on that drive and you go back up 24-21. Now we got a different ball game, folks. But instead, you go 3 and out, you give it right back to the Chiefs, and then they go on that 8+ minute drive and put this game on ice. I thought the defense gave you a shot. Yeah, you would have loved if the defense could have gotten a stop after you went 3 and out and got you the ball back again. But you're asking a lot of this defense. You're asking a lot. You needed to make some plays. Much like the first half where you were able to control the football and kind of shorten the game a bit and keep it out of the Chiefs' offense hands, you needed to do that in the second half, and you just did it. You allowed the Chiefs to actually flip the script and do that to you. And I think that's where the game really was told there. No answer for Tyreek Hill. Can't let him catch 2 touchdown passes. But again, That's the problem with this offense. It's pick your poison. All right, so you want to take away Tyreek Hill? Fine. We'll go to Travis Kelce. Oh, you want to take away Kelce and Hill? Okay, fine. We'll go to Samuel Watkins. Oh, you want to take away Samuel Watkins? We'll go to Demarcus Robinson. Oh, you want to take away... You don't want to take away Demarcus Robinson, but if in case you do, then we'll just go to Damian Williams out of the backfield. I thought he had a really good game catching the football out of the backfield as well. Oh, you want to take him away? All right, well, then we'll just go to somebody else, Mecole Hardman. You pick your poison with this Chiefs football team. Offensively, they're just too tough to stop. So, valiant effort by the Tennessee Titans. Hell of a job to even get to this point. They just ran out of gas. So, anyway, see if there are any more Super Chats. Make sure there aren't any. And then we'll get to a few comments. And then we'll get out of here. Niners fan says, didn't you feel like this game was over after Mahomes made it 21-17 at the end of the half? Not quite then. I said... I tweeted out that the next possession, which was the starting possession of the second half where the Chiefs were going to get the football to start the second half, I said, if they're able to score, this game's over. That was pretty much them being in the danger zone. However, when the Titans got the stop, I didn't feel like the game was over quite yet. I thought the Titans had a realistic shot of making something of this game, but they were not able to do that. Reese says, Pat Mahomes is cold-blooded, Lou. He's a Viper. Yes. Yes, he is. Dude is cold-blooded. And unfortunately, the Titans had to find that out in this game. Emperor Meat says, too many people were sipping that Titans juice, but not me. I knew if Tannehill had to throw it more than 15 times, it was a wrap. I didn't think Tannehill played poorly in this game. I didn't think he was overwhelmed by the stage nor the moment. I just thought, like you, if Tannehill had to go out and win them the game, and I thought that they didn't do a good enough job of taking some shots because I didn't have a problem with Tannehill throwing it 31 times in this game. I actually thought that the game flow necessitated that he throw it about 30 times. And it was going to be one of those games where he was going to have to throw it 25 plus times in this game for them to have a chance to win. However, I didn't like when the throws came. A lot of those throws didn't come till the game was essentially out of reach and they had to throw. I thought they could have thrown in early down situations because, again, the Chiefs were looking to stop Derrick Henry. So, I didn't have a problem with it, but Cody _1804 says, if it ends up being Packers Chiefs, is there a possibility the NFL is rigged? I don't. Why would you make that assertion? Why would you think that it's rigged? Niners fan says, I honestly feel like peak Mahomes is the greatest football player I've ever seen. It may ultimately be that. This guy is that good, man. For me, it's still Rodgers at his best, but I'm going to tell you right now, what I've seen from Mahomes in his brief NFL career, you haven't seen anyone else do the things that he's doing on the football field. This guy's ridiculous. So, peak Mahomes, you might ultimately be right, Niners fan, that peak Mahomes may be the best quarterback we've ever seen in our life, but he's got a long way to go before we can start making those types of assertions. Let's see. Mary Jo says, the Chiefs deserve this W, but what happened in the last minutes? He said. She says it's like they were feeling the jitters of a big game. I don't know if you're talking about the fake punt, the subsequent touchdown given up to Ferkser or what. If that's what you're talking about, yeah, I was like, don't give up the fake punt there. Don't let them score the touchdown. But I actually thought they handled the late stages of that game pretty good. Sammy J12 says, waited all my life to see this. I'm so happy today, but we aren't done yet. You're absolutely right. But no, you got 2 weeks. Celebrate this. Bask in the greatness of what you're embarking upon. Enjoy this. You've waited a long time. Don't cheat yourself thinking about Super Bowl 54. You've got 2 weeks and a huge build-up and a lead-up. Enjoy this. Soak it in. Take it all in. All right? As a fan of a team that hasn't been in the Super Bowl since 1991, if you want to be technical, the winter of 1992, soak it all in. You don't know when this is going to happen again. All right? We feel like this is the first of many trips. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, so did Dan Marino in his second year of his career. All right? You don't know if you're going to be back here. There are no guarantees in this thing. As a fan of the Chiefs, if you're out there and you are within earshot of my voice, celebrate. Celebrate, goddammit. You've waited so long for this. Do not deprive yourself of being extremely jubilant. Go out, run in the streets, yell, scream, be happy, be excited. You've waited a long time for this. You got a whole another week to be nervous and anxious about your opponent. Man, just live it up. All right? Craig Smith says, seriously, Lou, do you think Andy even knew Mahomes would even sniff this level of greatness? I think he did. That's why they traded up. Remember, they had to come way up to get him. It's not like, they went up 2 or 3 picks to get Mahomes. They were at the back end of the first round as a playoff team. Remember, Alex Smith was winning the division every year. It took balls for them to look at Alex Smith and say, we can't win a Super Bowl with this guy. Even though we love Alex and what he's done and how he's helped transform this organization into a perennial playoff participant, or a triple P as I like to call it. They saw the writing on the wall. They had the foresight to say, and look, Patrick Mahomes had a very good collegiate career at Texas Tech. All right, and he did some special things with the football. It took a visionary like Andy Reid to be able to project to the next level that, hey, look, man, if this guy ends up in the right hands, there's something here. All right. I think Andy Reid, I don't know if he saw this elite level of quarterbacking this soon. I think he did see the potential for Mahomes to come in and be a difference maker. I do believe that. I do. Thomas S. says, do you mock drafts or just draft profiles? I do both. Jordan Moreno says, how you doing, Lou? I've always admired your analysis from players entering the draft. I wanted to do something alike with the O-line. What do you think? Go for it. Absolutely. Go for it. Definitely go for it. I would always suggest that you go for it. The 20th Mike says, I think the Ravens would have given them a much harder time. He says, because this was family business, so I just think the Ravens would have made it much more of a show. Well, this wasn't family business, okay? These two teams do not play in the same division, nor do the Ravens play in the same division with either of these teams. So it would not have been family business, so let me correct you there. However, I thought the Titans put up a valiant effort. And sure, the Ravens might have been a tougher challenge, and it would have been in Baltimore. Who knows what would have happened? The Ravens haven't beaten the Chiefs yet with Patrick Mahomes under center, so I don't know what would have happened, but I just know the Titans put up a fight. It's not like they got steamrolled in this football game. Yin Yang Domain says, they got far with Tannehill. You can't say enough about the coaching in this game. You can't. You really. That's why I said hats off to Arthur Smith and the offensive play calling that he's had throughout this run and really throughout the season, especially once they made the switch to Tannehill. Hats off to Mike Vrabel and his staff for getting them in this position. It was a hell of a run. It really was. KT the Southern Gent says, poetic justice, the Lamar Hunt Trophy comes home. Exactly, and I mentioned that at the top of the show. And finally, KT the Southern Gent says, personal preference, Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers or San Francisco versus Kansas City. I've already talked about it on my podcast. I would prefer San Francisco versus the Chiefs. I think that defense versus Mahomes gives us the best opportunity to see the best Super Bowl we can possibly put together. But we'll see what happens because I tell you what, man, Aaron Rodgers going back to the scene of the crime, and you know what he's looking for. He's out for revenge. We'll see if he gets it. 49ers, Packers, NFC Championship game, like old times, Packers, 49ers, should be a good one. I do not think this is going to be a blowout. As I mentioned on my podcast, if you haven't checked out the podcast, check out the latest installment of the Louis T Network podcast, episode 69, available on Stitcher, Google Music Play, Spotify, TuneIn, and any other platform you can get it on, Apple Podcasts, it's there. So check it out. Like this video, subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. I'm your man, Louis T, signing off. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. We will be here to break it all down. After the NFC Championship game, we'll know our Super Bowl participants. I'll see you after the game. Enjoy the festivities. You know I will. And we'll come back here and break it all down. Thank you guys for joining me. See you at the conclusion of Packers and Niners. Have a good one. Louis T Network.